1500 प्रीलोडेड गानों वाला कीपैड फोन धमाकेदार साउंड के साथ कारवा मोबाइल।
हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। The science of civil engineering says that we will give you protection from the extreme weather, hot, humid rains, etc. The science of mechanical engineering says we will ease your miseries of transport and travel. Similarly, medical science says we will protect you from all the miseries inflicted by the diseases. But no science says that if you get this knowledge, apply this knowledge, you will be freed from all the miseries of existence. But this is that knowledge. That is why it is called Raj Vidya, the most confidential knowledge. So let us start without delay, chapter number 9 of the Bhagavad Gita, the most confidential knowledge. This session is dedicated to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, our spiritual master, and the founder and acharya of worldwide Hare Krishna movement. Let us see verse number 1. Shri Bhagavan Vacha Idam tu te guhyatamam pravakshyamyanasuyave Jnanam Vijnana Sahitam Yajgyatva Mokshase Shubhat. The Supreme Lord said, My dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this most secret wisdom, knowing which you shall be relieved of the miseries of material existence. So Krishna is telling, knowing this knowledge, which is realized knowledge, Jnanam Vijnana Sahitam, not just theory but realized, you will be freed from all the miseries of material existence. So important word which is used here is Anasuyave. Anasuyave means non-envious. This is the qualification of Arjuna. This Krishna has been mentioning over and over again. Bhakto asime sakha cheti, you are my devotee. So Arjuna is a devotee, friend of Krishna, and Arjuna is non-envious of Krishna. So this qualification is very difficult to have. Bhakti Yoga is easy and it gives one the highest platform. It is the topmost rung of devotional service. But usually people take to it in a very, very gradual, slow process. That is why we saw in the previous chapters, Krishna mentions, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yatati siddhaye. So many people ask this question that Krishna is telling Sulabham tasyaham sulabhav partha nitya yuktasya yoginah. For a bhakti yogi who is always engaged in my service, I am very easily attainable. Bhavamina chirat partha maya veshit chetakam. He will not take a long time in this material world. Very quickly, I am the swift deliverer. Then why don't people take to this bhakti yoga? Why Krishna is telling Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yatati siddhaye? Out of thousands and thousands of men, one may endeavor for perfection. Out of thousands who have perfected their lives, one can know me in truth. No, it is very difficult because of this qualification, Anasuyave. Because hardly we find a person who is non-envious of Krishna. Everybody in this material world, we are all envious. We have so many problems in life. And you see, the origin of these problems is envy. Why we have to work so hard? What is the problem basically? We have some desires here. Those desires are not fulfilled. Things don't go according to our plan. And then we get stressed out. And what are our plans? To just show off to others, maintain status quo in society. That is why everybody is working so hard. And then you have loans, and then you are not able to pay the loans, and education, and then not proper success, showing off your wealth, showing off your marks, showing off whatever. So entire hard work, tremendous pressure is because I want to show off, compete with others. This competition has made life very troublesome, even for the children now. So why this competition is there in the society? Because we are envious. We cannot see anybody going and progressing more than us going forward. Either we want to pull them or we want to go ahead, work very hard. So if you love a person, will you compete with that person? Will a mother compete with the child for limited resources? There is only one bread available in the house and both are hungry. Mother will go hungry and will tell child, you please eat. No, I don't have any hunger. She would not compete. If there is any problem, there is any attack in the house, mother will not tell, no, you don't come to my room. You face the attack. These days we are not, one nation tells you don't come to us. It is your problem. You take care. It means there is no love. There is envy. Will mother tell a child, oh, you take care. There is attack in the house. No, mother will come forward, try to protect the child. So this is called love. When a person sees, let other person enjoy, let him or her advance more, and let me remain humbly satisfied in my position. Let me wear old clothes and let my children have very nice clothes. This is the attitude of parents or mother, because there is love. Of course, that love is also not pure. So there is so much of envy in the society. We tell there should be love and love humans, love animals and this thing. But then ultimately we see this society is based on envy. Only in society of envy there is competition. There is no competition between people when there is love. And why? What is the root cause of this envy? Envy of God. Because we are envious of God. We want to replace God. That is what we all are doing. We want to become stronger than the strongest, wiser than the wisest, if there is possibility, richer than the richest, the most beautiful, most handsome. We want to become the best, and the best position is of God. So we want to go to that position. That is why in spiritual life it is being told, Das Das Dasanudasa, servant of the servant of the servant of the servant. That is why we address each other as Prabhu. Prabhu means you are master, I am your servant. This is the attitude we cultivate in spiritual life. And people do not know it is this attitude of being servant that is the source of great bliss. And it is a great platform for spiritual advancement. So when we love God, then we love everybody, because we recognize everybody is part and parcel of Lord, and then there is no cause of envy and the person is very peaceful. He is not at all disturbed. And another envy is we understand that God has arranged everything. If I have broken some laws of nature, I have to be suffered. Nobody can escape if somebody has committed a crime. But if he wants to somehow escape the laws, then punishment will be more severe and more rigorous. Similarly, as per the actions we have done in previous life, Bhagavatam mentions, Yena yavan yatha dharmo dharma veha samihitaha. As per the dharma and adharma we have done in previous life, sa eva tatphalam bhungte, the result becomes fixed for the future lives. It's simple. Now I commit crime, in future I suffer. Same law applies here also. In this life and future life, our happiness and distress is the result of the karma that we perform. And because the aim, as we have been discussing in Bhagavad Gita, is to gain freedom from the miseries of birth and death, to go back to Godhead, God has designed this world in such a way that you cannot change it by mere hard work. So our happiness and distress for this life is fixed, so that we can save time for spiritual advancement and tolerate that happiness and distress. So that is why we should just work in a regulated way. And what is regulated way? Our spiritual practices are not to be compromised. Spiritual rules and regulations, some prescribed hours we have to spend every day for spiritual life, they should not be compromised. Just to work hard for improving our material or economic position, that cannot be improved by hard work. That is fixed as per the actions of previous life. So now we are working very hard. This is another sign of envy. God, you have made some laws, but no, I will work hard and change my destiny. So sometimes consciously, sometimes unconsciously, but the root seed, the cause is there. It is coming because of this seed of envy within the heart. So we have to come out of this envy. So that is why the position of devotee is Tatte nukampam susamikshamano bhunjan eva atmakritam vipakam. Usually when people come under stress, they tell, God, I worship you so much and why there is stress in my life? And either they are disturbed with God, disgusted with God, sometimes they become atheist also. God does not listen. Sometimes they change their religion, or let me go to God of another religion, not understanding the same person is addressed by different names in different religion, or sometimes they become atheist like that. So this is envy. But when misery comes in the life of devotee, tatte anukampam, devotee feels great happiness that he has firm conviction. Not a blade of grass moves without sanction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So if anything is happening in my life, this is sanctioned by God. So parents will not sanction anything which is not for the betterment of the children. So if God has sanctioned misery for me, then that is good for myself. That we should understand. If the child is indulged in some wrong habits, sometimes parents may chastise and they may even slap at times. Why? Because there is love for the child. When the child grows up, he realizes, oh, I was smoking a cigarette and my parents chastised me, so I got protected. He is very thankful, very grateful. In a similar fashion, these miseries, they help us to get purification of heart and develop detachment from this material world. Seek spiritual advancement of life, the reality beyond this illusory world. So thus a devotee always is very, very grateful, even in miseries. He has firm faith in God. He is not envious at all. So miseries or happiness, he is always grateful. Ridavag vapurbhir vidadan namaste. And from his heart, from his speech, he is always thankful to God. Thank you, God, so much, either for happiness or distress in my life. This is the platform of non-enviousness. He does not work very hard to defeat others and show off to others. He understands everybody's part and parcel of God. You go ahead, step on my head and go ahead. If there is happiness for yourself, does not matter. So he simply engaged in the pleasure of God. His pleasure is not to defeat or put others down. This is called non-envy. But this can happen only when we are non-envious of God. When we love God, then actually we love our family members, actually we love the people around us, and we love humans, non-humans, everybody. This is the platform of real love and non-enviousness, and the qualification to understand this Raj Bhakti. So let us move ahead with the second verse. Rajvidya Rajguhyam Pavitram Idamuttamam Pratyakshaavagamam Dharmyam Susukham Kartum Avyayam. This knowledge is the king of education, the most secret of all secrets. It is the purest knowledge, and because it gives direct perception of the self by realization, it is a perfection of religion. It is everlasting and it is joyfully performed. So very important words. First of all, it is told Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam. Raja means king. So this knowledge is the king of all knowledge. Whatever education you have, material or spiritual, the king is being discussed here, the king of all knowledge. The most secret of all secrets, at the same time, it is the greatest secret. Raj Guhyam. So Krishna has used this word many times. Guhyatamam, this is the greatest secret. The knowledge which was discussed in the initial chapters of Bhagavad Gita, second and so forth. They describe Guhyam, confidential knowledge, and that is the knowledge of Brahm. I am spirit, soul, different from the body. It is very difficult. Just like a person in dream, it is confidential knowledge for him that all these miseries, no tiger is chasing you. You wake up. It all appears very real. Similarly, for us, all this life which is temporary appears to be real. I am man, woman, I am this body, I am dog, I am cat. So this is confidential knowledge. You are eternal. You do not die. You will continue. You were existing before you accepted this body. So a person can see everything outside this body, but nothing within the body, and we are the spirit soul within the body. So this is called confidential knowledge. Next level of knowledge in chapter number 7 and 8, it was in relation to devotional service, that is called more confidential knowledge. And the most confidential knowledge, the pure devotional service, it is described in this chapter. So it is called Raj Guhyam. Pavitram idam uttamam, it is the purest knowledge. What is the meaning of purity? In all the other fields of knowledge, there is impurity, there is contamination of lower modes of nature, mode of passion and mode of ignorance. So knowledge was mentioned, how various people, they read the Vedas in order to get material benefits of life, karma kanda portion. So that knowledge is not purest. There is mix of ignorance. Person thinks I am this body and the satisfaction of body will satisfy me. This is real happiness. So such people follow the karma kanda portion of the Vedas, means ritualistic ceremonies. They give charity so that they can become rich in next life. They open educational institutions so that they can become vastly learned. Or they worship various demigods so that they can have material facilities in this life. So this knowledge is there, it is fact. If you do this, you will get such results, but it is not pure knowledge. Because there is contamination of mode of ignorance. You are thinking you are the body, satisfying body, you will be happy. Then there is more advanced knowledge, you are not the body, you are spirit soul. But that knowledge is also not sufficient, the knowledge of the Upanishads. And because still a person thinks, I am one with God. Although that one means just like the drop of water is same as the ocean, both are water. In the same fashion, I am similar in substance to God, but there is great difference in the magnitude. This a person is not able to understand. So again, there is ignorance. Person starts thinking by reading Upanishads at times that I am God. You are that Tattvamasi is the version of the Vedas. You are that means you are not matter, you are Brahma, you are spirit soul. But it does not mean that you are God, you are supreme spirit soul. That is why in the Vedas, in the Upanishads, it is also mentioned that you are different and God is different. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam. There is one consciousness and there are plural, many consciousnesses. There is one eternal consciousness, there are many eternals. Ekaha yo bahunam vididhati kaman, that one supreme personality, supreme consciousness. Par Brahma, how it is different from plural, unlimited consciousnesses? Because this one consciousness, supreme consciousness, fulfills the desires of all infinitesimal consciousnesses. So thus this difference is also given in the Vedas, but it is very confidential. So there is a tinge of ignorance in this knowledge also, and a person starts thinking that I am God. But this knowledge is purest. You understand you are spirit soul, different from body, and just knowing this is not sufficient. You have to know you are spirit soul. What is your actual designation? Now you are thinking you are man, woman, identifying with some name, but you have a real identity. You have a form. What is your real form? What is your real relationship with God? How to act in that relationship? This is called perfect knowledge, pure knowledge. It gives direct perception of the self by realization. In other process, there is no direct perception. But here, if you follow Krishna consciousness, then you can perceive God. One may not be able to see God unless one is completely purified. Just like fire cannot be seen at times, but one can feel the fire. Oh, heat is coming, there must be fire somewhere. So in a similar fashion, even though one may not be able to see God, but if we chant and hear Hare Krishna Mahamantra very nicely, or the subject matter of Bhagavatam very nicely, we will be able to perceive the presence of God. Just like a person is blind, he may not be able to see other people, but he can touch other people and perceive their presence. He may smell amazing fragrance of the flowers, and in this way one can perceive the presence of flowers even though one is blind. So one may not be able to see God, but one will be able to perceive the presence of God. That is a special prerogative of those who follow this Rajavidya. Pavitram idam uttamam pratyaksh avagamam dharmyam. So it is not that you have to remain in blind faith, you will be able to perceive, thus faith becomes very strong. And, so it offers perception of God, it offers perception of spirit soul, and it is the topmost knowledge, so it would be very, very difficult to perform. Just for gaining confidential knowledge, I am not the body, the sages have to do lot of tapasya, lot of yoga we saw. Shuchau deshe pratisthapya, you have to sit alone and go to jungle and do lot of fasting, stop your eating and sleeping. So this must be even more rigorous. But no, that is why it is mentioned here. Suzukham kartum avyayam. It is very, very pleasant to perform. susukham, very pleasant to perform. And thus we can see this process is so nice. So what we do as soon as we get up in the morning in this process of Krishna consciousness, our day starts with singing and dancing, chanting the names of God. And that is so pleasurable activity. Initially it may not be so pleasant, just like the person who is having fever. The best of the dishes may taste bitter. Jaundice patient finds sugar candy also bitter. But if he takes sugar candy, that is a medicine, he will find that it is very, very sweet. And even in the initial stages also, simply if we hear with rapt attention, we will never find it boring, it will be refreshing always. So as soon as we get up, we sing and dance. It is so joyful, singing and dancing, who does not like? And singing and dancing, if you get tired, then you take prasadam, very tasty dishes you offer to Krishna. And then you eat that prasadam, nice, tasty, palatable foodstuffs. And then you discuss, this is such wonderful philosophy, isn't it? That is why we are all listening now. It is a food for the intelligence, for the mind. It is susukham kartum avyayam. You get tired, then you can read. If you get tired reading, then you can sing and dance. You can go and preach. It is such a wonderful thing. Now, I am not a very great scholar. It does not matter. You can clean the floor of Krishna. I just know how to do menial services. You are very fond of cooking. Cook nice dishes for Krishna. I know the art of sewing. I am not very advanced in technology. It does not matter. You can just make nice dresses for Krishna. Oh, I am great technologist, very nice, develop nice apps for spreading Krishna consciousness. I am great manager, organize the distribution of literatures like Bhagavad Gita. So thus everybody can be engaged the way they want to be engaged. This is the beauty of this process, pure devotional service. So this is very easy to perform, and it is very, very pleasant to perform. Susukham kartum avyayam. It is a topmost knowledge, it is purest knowledge, it gives perception of spiritual life, practical realization can happen. The only qualification is anasuyave, we have to become non-envious. Ashraddhadhanav purusha dharmasyasya parantapa aprapya mam nivartante mrityu sansara vartmani. Those who are not faithful in the path of devotional service cannot attain me, O conqueror of foes, but return to birth and death in this material world. But some people who are not able to put faith in this process, ashraddhadhana purusha. So because you have not seen God and so many doubts can happen, that is natural. We are infinitesimal, atomic spirit soul. We want to understand infinite spirit. Just to understand the science of these bones, teeth within our mouth, you have to study 4-5 years. And then you become a dentist. And you study 6-7 years, you become ophthalmologist. And you have just knowledge of the small organ called eye, that is also very limited. And you want to understand knowledge about everything, who has the source of everything, the supreme creator. So one is bound to get confused. So those who get carried away by such confusion are not able to put faith on this process, then mrityu sansara vartmani. Aprapya mam nivartante, they are not able to attain me. So those people who first want to do complete research and then they want to follow Krishna consciousness, for them the process is bahunam janmanam ante gyanman mam prapadyante. They want to first do discovery, and once they are fully convinced by doing this discovery by their senses, when they have understood, perfectly got convinced, yes, Krishna is Supreme Personality, He is Creator, He is the origin, He is in the heart of everybody, His energies are only spread everywhere. When they get convinced thoroughly, then only I will start worshipping Krishna, chanting the names of Krishna, engaging in His worship. Then that will take a very, very long time. But if a person is little wise, follows Buddhi Yoga, Yoga of intelligence, he sees that all those great authorities who have dedicated their lives to find truth, they are telling me that this is right. So why do I suffer for so many lifetimes of birth and death? So these people who have dedicated their life to find truth, they are telling it is fact. And those people who follow this path, they get the result. So, and there is no loss. What is the loss in chanting the names of God? What is the loss in reading, spending time, discovering the wonderful knowledge in these books? And what is the loss? Anyway, I have to eat food. If I keep in front of Krishna, I eat. What is the loss? So let me try, let me experiment. So those people who are able to follow in little good faith, then they advance. But those, no, I first want to discover everything, they take many, many lifetimes. So initially it is but natural that we will have doubts. We have doubts in any field of knowledge. But we should understand our faith is actually deceptive in this material world. The faith is also the result. We will discuss the science beautifully. It is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita in the coming chapters. How the faith is also the result of field of activity. For example, a moth, because of ignorance, is convinced, if I go approach closer to fire, I will be very happy. But the moth loses its life. This is called faith in ignorance. A person is convinced, oh, if I get this man or woman, my life would become successful, and sometimes they are able to get the love of their life. But in a couple of days or months, they realize, actually, my love of life has become the distress of my life. Why this happens? We were convinced. Materialists are convinced, if I get money, I will be happy. Or if I get this position in society, I'll be happy, not noticing. Those people who have these positions, are they happy in their life? So this is called actually blind faith. Pashyanapi na pashyati. I am seeing those people who have acquired this are not happy. Where is the cause of possibility of my happiness in acquiring these things? So thus we have to understand the faith that we have is the result of the senses and the mind that I have got. The senses of moth and his brain, mind is convincing him, you jump into fire, go closer to fire, you will be happy. And the mind cheats us. People get cheated by their mind thinking this man or woman will make you happy, but it does not make. They get cheated, this position in society will make you happy. Mind and senses convince them. But then, so we have to understand our fate depends upon our mind and senses. If a person is blind, he cannot put faith whether the person standing in front of me is beautiful or not. He can never put faith. Because eyes don't allow to have faith. Similarly, a person who is sick, he cannot put faith, this dish is palatable or not, because the tongue gives only bitter taste whatever he eats. So our fate depends upon our senses and mind, our body. That is why we have to understand real faith on substance, on reality is acquired by people who are completely beyond the clutches of this body, who are liberated souls. That is why we have to see who is the liberated person and what are his convictions about life. We should try to follow that person, those liberated people. So we have to understand this point very carefully. So initial stages in spiritual life, because we are very small and this body is completely under control of material nature, we may get distracted and lose faith. But we have to understand what is the value of our faith. A child is having faith, if I play my entire life, I would be happy, does not realize the importance of education. The tribals were having faith, the sun is dying every evening and the new sun takes birth every morning. Does it make any sense? So we should not depend upon our faith and our perceptions. Our faith simply depends upon the body. That is it not sensible? It is very sensible, common sense. So faith should be upon the knowledge given in the user manual, the Vedas, Vedic literatures. Or the faith should be upon the liberated personalities who are not getting affected by the material nature. Now we are completely affected by material nature. That is why it is told in Updeshamrita, Vacho Vegam Manasa Krodha Vegam Jivva Vegam Udropastha Vegam. Any person who is able to control the urges of the body, we have urge to talk, we cannot be silent. Manasa Vegam, mind, there is urge to think of this thing, that thing. Lusty thoughts, angry thoughts, we cannot control. So Manasa Vegam, Krodha Vegam, Jivva Vegam, tongue wants to taste many things palatable. Even though I am diseased, I know this is wrong, I still end up eating that. Jivva Vegam. Udaropastha Vegam, the vega of belly, fill it more. And the vega of reproductive organs, very strong. So one who is able to control these vegas, one who is not affected by the forces of material nature, Sarvam apimam prithvim sa shishyat, such a person can make disciples all over the world. So one has to find a person who is free from the clutches, from the modes of material nature. But what is our education system? Become more and more controlled by material nature, more and more conditioned. Vedic education means remain satisfied in every situation, control your mind, control your senses, get free from the clutches of material energy. Now we are more dependent. Now I am creating more addictions in my life. I wanted 5 lakh rupees earlier. Now I cannot sustain without 20 lakhs. I cannot sustain without 1 crore or 100 crores. If I make 50 crore profit, I am under great stress. 50 crore is not satisfying. Is that liberation or conditioning? We have become more dependent on money. Earlier I was dependent on 5 lakh rupees. I am dependent now on 50 crore rupees in my life. So now earlier I was satisfied, but now I have people, I cannot live without those people. So what is this, liberation or dependence? Now if that person is not with me, I get very much disturbed. So in this way we are creating more and more. If I cannot eat that thing every day, I cannot have a cup of coffee every day, I cannot have beer every other day, I become disturbed. I cannot watch my favorite TV series, Netflix every day, I become disturbed. I cannot watch my football or cricket match, I become disturbed. So we are becoming more and more conditioned by material nature. And how a conditioned soul can be happy? Now your team loses, you become stressed. Match does not happen, you become stressed. The people whom you are attached to, time will take them away from you. Time will change their nature. Or time can cause calamity and accidents. We become stressed. In this way, the more we are conditioned with the pegs of material nature, we lose our freedom. And Vedic culture means Ya Vidya Sa Vimuktaye. Not Vedic culture, it is common sense also. Knowledge means Vimuktaye, which liberates you. And this knowledge makes you conditioned. Now you find a good job. If you don't find job after education, then you are hopeless. So no. So that is why, please, whenever there is confusion in life, always you can reflect what we have discussed here in the explanation of this third verse. Don't depend upon senses and our faith. Child is having faith, tribals are having faith, sun is dying, sun is rising, moth is having faith. What is the value of such faith and perception? Find a liberated person. Find the Vedas, the user manual. Try to understand this is authorized knowledge or not, and then try to follow. So this is the process of advancement. So those who are able to understand this thing, they make advancement. But ashraddha, those who are not able to understand the simple thing, they base their convictions, their direction in life, basis what their senses and mind, these inputs are giving them, then they are lost. They don't attain me. Maya tatam idam sarvam jagadavyakta murtina matsthani sarva bhutani nachaham teshvavasthitaha. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. Now Krishna is explaining his position. Maya tatam idam sarvam. God is spread everywhere. How? Avyakta murtina. Again, it is in our reference in context of the conditioned souls. We cannot see God. So that is why God, for conditioned souls, he is avyakta. Otherwise, for pure devotees, always seeing God at every moment. He is situated within and he is situated without. But for normal conditioned souls, avyakta murtina. But murtina is important here. Unmanifest form. Formlessness is never supported by the Vedas. Those who have comprehensive knowledge of the Vedas, that is why murtina. Murtina means form. Krishna is spread everywhere in a form which is unmanifest. Masthani sarva bhutani nachaham teshu avasthita. All entities, living beings are situated in me, but I am not in them. Nachaham teshu avasthita. What does it mean? That all the living beings are in me, but I am not in them, because we understand that Krishna is present, Krishna has entered everywhere. Yes, Krishna has entered everywhere, but in his original form, he is situated in the spiritual world, in his original abode. And that Krishna explains in the next verse. Nacha matsthani bhutani pashchime yogamaishwaram bhuta bhrinna cha bhutastho mamatma bhuta bhavanaha. And yet everything that is created does not rest in me. Behold my mystic opulence. Although I am the maintainer of all living entities, and although I am everywhere, still myself is the very source of creation. So first Krishna tells everything that is created rests in me, all beings are in me, and he's telling yet everything that is created does not rest in me. So this is contradictory. Everything is resting on Krishna, everything not resting on Krishna. So like this we find Arupayo, Ururupaya. Krishna has no form and then he's having many forms. These contradictions can be perfectly adjusted in the supreme, all-powerful, majestic personality of Godhead. That is why he is God. So what is the meaning of this contradiction? Everything is situated in Krishna and yet everything is not situated in Krishna. It means not personally everything is being sustained by Krishna. Example, a king is there. So king, we can tell that king is maintaining all his subjects, but is king personally maintaining, personally going and feeding them, personally giving them clothing and arranging, engaging them? No. King has got ministers and so many departments. In this way, everybody is being maintained. But king would be directly maintaining some people. King is directly maintaining his son, his family. In a similar fashion, in the spiritual world, Krishna directly maintains them, sustains them. But in material world where we are living now, it is impersonal maintenance by Krishna. Krishna is not directly sustaining, taking care of them. So in this way, every living entity, all the beings are situated in Krishna, just like everyone is being maintained by the king, and yet not everyone is being maintained by the king. So in material world, Krishna takes care impersonally. In spiritual world, Krishna takes care personally. So thus this thing completely rejects the impersonal conception of life. Krishna is telling everything is situated in me, but everything is not situated in me. So if Krishna was simply an energy which is spread everywhere, then everything would have been situated in Krishna, but this is not fact. So impersonalism is again defied here. That absolute truth is not only impersonal. Impersonalism, just like sun's energy is everywhere, in a similar fashion, Krishna's energy is everywhere. In this way, Krishna is spread everywhere, but personally, Krishna is present in his own spiritual abode. Yatha kasha sthito nityam vayus sarvatra go mahan tatha sarvani bhutani marsthani ti upadharaya. As the mighty wind blowing everywhere always rests in ethereal space, know that in the same manner all beings rest in me. So we think that the space is something vacuum or empty. Space is not empty. Space is a substance that is called Khe or Kham. Shabd Khe Paurusham Nrishu. Just like there is a screen, on the screen movie is projected. So when you're seeing the movie, you hardly notice the screen, but it's the screen which is the cause of all the visible forms that you see in the movie theater. In a similar fashion, the space, it's a real energy. But you don't see this energy, but it is the space, this energy, which is a cause of all the manifestations that we see around us. You can call it a three-dimensional screen. So just like the wind is sustained in space, everything is being sustained by Krishna. Sarva bhutani kaunteya prakritim yanti mamikam kalpakshay punastani kalpadau vistrajamyaham. O son of Kunti, at the end of the millennium, every material manifestation enters into my nature, and at the beginning of another millennium, by my potency, I again create. Prakritim swam avashthabhya visrajami punah punaha bhutagramam imam kritsnam avasham prakratir vashat. The whole cosmic order is under me. By my will, it is manifested again and again, and by my will, it is annihilated at the end. So Krishna is telling, do not think I am an ordinary person, your chariot driver or your friend. I am the person who is sustaining all the, not just planets, solar systems or galaxies, and not just the universes, but the entire material and spiritual existence. Everything is sustained by me. Arjuna is talking to that personality who has created so many universes. You can just imagine what is Krishna. From the microbial living entities to the greatest of the planets, galaxies and universes Krishna has created. And this person is standing in front of him. So thus Krishna is establishing his position before he explains devotional service unto him. Na chamam tani karmani nibadhanti dhananjaya udasina vadasinam asaktam teshu karmasu. O Dhananjaya, all this work cannot bind me. I am ever detached, seated as though neutral. So God has created this thing and this world has got suffering. So God is telling, no, I am neutral. I am neutral to everybody. Your sufferings are created by you. You break the laws of nature and thus you suffer. I am neutral. I have no interest in creating this place. But you wanted to have your interest separate from me. You wanted to become God rather than engage in my loving service. So I have created this world. And it is not that I am also the creator under the direction of some supreme person beyond me. No, I am completely free. Thus I am not bound by any karma. I have created the laws of karma. So Krishna is telling here, Na chamam tani karmani nibadnanti. I am not bound by any work, any laws of karma. I have created laws of karma. I am completely free in all my actions. Mayadhyakshena prakritihi suyate sacharacharam hetunanena kaunteya jagad viparivartate. This material nature is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, and it is producing all moving and unmoving beings. By its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. So that is why, despite all the hard work, happiness is not coming in life, misery comes in some other form. Why? Because the miseries which we have created for us, they will come to us because material nature is acting under direction of Krishna, and it is not some impersonal energy which we can escape by our small scientific maneuvers. We have to understand what are the laws of nature so that I don't break them in future, and how to properly atone for the mistakes I have done in the past. So Krishna is telling material nature, we see, oh, nature is so smart, nature is so intelligent, how nature has given the substance within the spider, how to make webs, and also the intelligence, not just substance. If somebody gives us substance, now you make computer out of it, we will not be able to assemble computer. Or even if somebody gives us the sticky substance and they tell us you make this cobweb, we will not be able to do it. If we are given the substance, you make the honeycomb, we will not be able to do it. But the substance is given and the skills are also given. Just see the amazing technology. So the pig has got attraction for the stool, and the pig does not get diseased by eating stool. If we eat stool, we'll get diseased. So the proper science, the proper management, proper inner engineering, how it has been designed by somebody. So thus people are very inspired to do research. So we should understand who is the perfect scientist behind all this amazing creation. He is Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is telling, under my control this nature is acting. This automated engineering I have installed in the nature. So thus do not try to arm twist nature. Do not try to somehow make your life happy without following the laws of nature, because nature is not under your direction. It is following my direction. Avajananti mudha manushim tanumashritam param bhavam ajananto mama bhuta maheshwaram. Fools deride me when I descend in the human form. They do not know my transcendental nature and my supreme dominion over all that be. Avajananti, people do not know my actual nature. Mudha means foolish people, as we have discussed. Krishna repeatedly uses this word mudha, less intelligent people. They tell that I am an ordinary human being. So when I take a form which appears like that of a Manushya, descendants of Manu, Manushim Tanumashritam, people deride me. They think he's ordinary man, just a person who became very famous and people started worshipping him as God, or he was just a messenger of God, people started later worshipping him, or he was just a powerful politician or a great mystical yogi, a magician. Like this, people take me to be more powerful but they don't understand Param Bhavam. Bhavam means nature, my different, supreme nature. Mama Bhuta Maheshwaram. I am not controlled. I am the controller of all the material energy, the material elements. Maheshwaram, Maha Ishwar, I am the supreme controller. My supreme, I will repeat. My supreme dominion over all that be, they do not know it. So we should not take Krishna to be just an ordinary historical personality who also took birth by control of nature like we take birth. No, Krishna is in control of the entire nature. That point Krishna wants to establish here. Moghasha mogha karmano mogha jnana vichetasaha rakshasi masuram chaiva prakritim mohinim shritaha. Those who are thus bewildered are attracted by demoniac and atheistic views. In that deluded condition, their hopes for liberation, their fruitive activities, and their culture of knowledge are all defeated. Mahatmanastu mam partha daivim prakritim ashritaah bhajantyananya manaso gyatva bhutadim avyayam. O son of Pritha, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. So Krishna is giving the contrast. Those who are not able to understand Krishna as Supreme Personality, they are defeated. You may become powerful yogi, you may become very rich, very intelligent, you may become impersonally liberated also. But you will fall down from all these positions. We will leave the body and all the material achievements are vanquished. And if we get liberated also, if we have not taken shelter of Krishna in devotional service, because the nature of soul is not just to have peace but positive happiness of loving relationship, a person falls down from Brahma Jyoti. On the other hand, there are great souls who are called Mahatma. So Mahatma is not simply a tag that any person can be given. Here the definition is given. Who is Mahatma? Tu means but Mahatma, the great souls against the Mudhas, they take shelter of the supreme spiritual energy of mind. So there are two energies of Krishna as we have discussed: internal potency, external potency. Internal energy means king's internal energy is there, his arms are there. With his arms he can carry his children on his own lap, he can feed their children. So this is called internal potency. External potency ministers the system set up by the king. Through that he is maintaining other subjects. So Krishna maintains devotees and he wants to maintain all of us by his internal potency. But when we become envious, so our situation is just like that of a son of a very rich father. Sometimes when the son becomes, normally the sons are obedient to father. They give respects, they touch the feet. In India, they fall down at the feet of the parents and they serve them very nicely. But sometimes the son may become envious and he may leave the house even of a rich father and may struggle to find even small job. So rather than giving some food to such hungry son who is loitering on the street, that is also good work. Rather than giving skills to that son to set up his own job or business, that is also good work. But the best work, best help to that son of a rich man loitering on the street is giving knowledge that please become non-envious. Your father is so rich and he's a good man. Why don't you go back and live with your father? He loves you. So thus telling people that you are eternal, why you are working very hard to temporarily become rich, and even if you are rich, this disease, old age, death, these problems will not be solved. So please go back to your Father, God, the Supreme Personality. So this is the best welfare activity. So become Devim Prakritim Ashritaha. Rather than taking shelter of this external energy, now we have taken shelter of external energy. The laws of nature force us to become old, force us to die, force our senses to do certain activities, and then we break the laws of nature and we suffer. So this control of external energy is not good. It is just like the indirect control of government in the jail. The prisoners in the jail are maintained by government but not directly, indirectly by the jail authorities and laws, limited freedom and limited comforts they have. But government directly is very, very cautious of the people. Government creates so many facilities, nice education, health facilities, and so much welfare is being taken care. If you serve government very nicely, government will give you nice big house to live, big offices, servants, everything will be arranged by government. But to the sincere government servant. So thus Krishna is telling Mahatmas, they take shelter of my internal spiritual energy. They are protected by my internal energy. So thus even though they are in this material world, they will not be affected by laws of nature. So the question is, and one more example I would like to quote in this context, how a person is protected by internal energy. How remaining in the material world one is not affected by the laws. It is just like embassy. In the embassy, although embassy could be situated in a different country, but the laws of the country don't apply in that embassy. Even person has committed some crime, they cannot go and arrest that person. So they cannot harm a person. The local police or the army of that country cannot invade the embassy. So in a similar fashion, when a person is engaged in service of Krishna, the laws of this material world do not apply to that person. And how do we do that? How do we come under control of spiritual energy? It is very simple. Now, this body is made up of material energy. This mind is made up of material energy. If we follow the dictates of our mind and body, we are under control of external energy. The spiritual masters, they don't follow the dictates of mind and body. They are liberated personalities. This book is completely spiritual instructions of Krishna. So if we lead our life as per the instructions given in the Bhagavad Gita or as per the directions of the spiritual master is not under control of material energy. They strictly follow the instructions of God directly. So if we follow strictly the instruction of spiritual master, then we are immediately under control of Devim Prakriti, and from the very beginning we are liberated. So this is the way of becoming aloof from the control of material energy. And thus a devotee remains happily even in this world which is full of misery. And these people, bhajanti ananya manaso. So this mind and body will never give us knowledge of God unless it comes under control of internal potency. So because the mind and body is under control of internal energy of Krishna, knowledge of Krishna is revealed. And these people, they do bhajan of Krishna, bhajanti ananya manaso, without any deviation. They have just one activity in life, and that is bhajan of Krishna. What is this bhajan? Bhajan means, bhaj dhatu means to render service. Bhakti has come from bhaj dhatu. So what is the meaning? The definition is very nicely given. Sarvopadhi vinirmuktam tatparatvena nirmalam rishikena rishikesha sevanam bhaktir uchyate. So normally we think bhakti means we have to leave everything and maybe sit in a temple and do something. No. Arjuna did bhakti by shooting arrows for Krishna. Rishikena rishikesha sevanam sarvopadhi vinirmuktam. Understanding I am not the body, I am spirit soul. So my body belongs to Krishna. So let us use my body and skills for Krishna. This is called bhakti. If your body has got skills and orientation to fight, you fight for Krishna. It has got orientation to do research, you do research on Krishna. It has got orientation just for cleaning the floor, clean floor for Krishna. Business skills, do business for Krishna. That is called bhakti. You are a student, take education for Krishna. So that is, bhakti is very simple. Whatever we are doing, if we understand that my body and mind belong to Krishna, so I should use them for Krishna, that is called bhakti. So such Mahatmas, what is the symptom? Bhajanti ananya manaso. They are engaged in Krishna bhajan. And bhajan of course begins with chanting and hearing the names of Krishna. Unless a person hears very nicely with rapt attention, other activities will not sustain. So hearing is most important in the subject matter of bhajan. And thus because they are engaged in bhajan, gyatva bhutadim avyayam. They understand me, I am inexhaustible, I am the source of all the other living entities. So we cannot understand Krishna from these material senses. They are designed to perceive matter. As different instruments are designed to perceive certain things. From microscope you cannot observe heavenly bodies. From telescope you cannot observe microorganisms. From radar you cannot watch your cricket match that you can do on your television set. So these objects, although they are giving us vision of the world, but they are designed to have a certain vision of world in a certain way. In a similar fashion, this material world, this material body is given to us to have perception, a limited perception of this material world as per our desires and the affordability as per the karma. It cannot perceive anything and everything. Now, how do we see God? How do we perceive God? Sevan mukhe jivvadau. When we engage our senses in the service of God, when we become sevan mukha, service oriented, and service begins with tongue, jivva adau. Jivva means tongue. We start chanting the names of God, from here service begins. Then swayam ev spurati adaha. God manifests himself. And thus we will be able to, so everything will manifest. So don't worry if we are not able to understand everything in the beginning. Simply we have to chant and hear Hare Krishna mantra very nicely. There is no loss, right? So please develop this practice. Keep on chanting and hearing throughout the day as much as possible. And some time with great attention. Sit down and hear with rapt attention. Simply by this chanting and hearing of Hare Krishna mantra and this wonderful knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, we will be able to understand everything. How I am not the body, how I am spirit, soul. Nashyami atma bhavasto. God situated in the heart gives knowledge because he becomes pleased. This is the way by which we try to acquire knowledge in the topmost Bhakti Yoga system. So just try to chant and hear very nicely, and God from the heart will give all knowledge and everything will be crystal clear. So another very important symptom of Mahatma that we always discuss and we just discussed is mentioned here. So if somebody asks you that where Krishna has mentioned that you chant my name, why you always keep on chanting name and this thing, so you please refer this verse, verse number 14, chapter number 9. Satatam kirtayanto mam yatantascha dridvrataah namasyantascha mam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. Always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me. These great souls perpetually worship me with devotion. So Krishna has mentioned here, Satatam Kirtayanto Mam. So these Mahatmas, what do they do? Symptoms? Satatam means constantly, without any breakage. While they are wakeful or even when they sleep, if they wish to sleep, they always chant my name continuously, Satatam. And Yatantascha Dridavvrataha. They engage in my service with great determination. So people engage in tasks with great determination in this material world. Somebody is determined, I will get this man or woman in my life. Somebody is determined, I will crack this examination. In this way we have determination. Why? Because we are convinced this thing will make me happy. So when a person is convinced that Krishna is God, then he will obviously engage in his service with determination, because everything is under his control. If I serve him, if God is pleased, why do we want to serve a big company? Because I'm convinced I'll get a lot of money. This company is rich, big. So if I get convinced about Krishna, whatever Krishna has described here, all the planets, the entire world, Krishna is maintaining. He is avyayam, he is inexhaustible. The laws of nature are prakritim. It is under my control. Maya adhyakshena prakriti. Then such a person will obviously surrender to Krishna. But this conviction is not easy to develop. That is why only Mahatmas, great souls, are able to do this. So for this, we have to engage in service of Krishna, as we discussed. Satatam kirtayanto mam sevan mukhe jivvadau. When we are kirtan, constantly we are doing kirtan, we do this practice, Krishna becomes pleased. He purifies our senses, removes the material contamination, and then we are able to perceive, see God and understand everything about science of God. And when we understand, then obviously we'll engage. We want to serve people. Why am I serving some rich man of this world? Let me serve the richest Krishna, the most powerful Krishna. So because such people have no doubts about Krishna, they engage in Krishna's service with determination. So two things we have to do. Purify this body by engaging in Krishna's service, constantly chanting his name, and don't contaminate your body by breaking the 4 regulative principles: meat eating, intoxication, gambling, and illicit sex. So take the medicine and don't take the food which is harmful. These two things, if you are cautious of, body will become purified. And with pure spiritualized body, The body will look like the same, but it will be purified. Just like the water, after purification looks the same, but it is purified. In a similar fashion, this body becomes purified of Rajoguna and Tamoguna, then we can understand very clearly everything. Namasyantascha mam bhaktya nitya yukta upasate. Again, the word is used, bhaktya. So the Mahatmas are bhaktas, are devotees. The Jnanis, the Ashtangi yogis, the Karmis, Krishna has not recognized them as great souls, Mahatma. They are on the path. But Mahatma means only a bhaktya. How many times Krishna has used? Bhajanti annanya manaso. He does bhajan without any deviation. Again, bhaktya, in great devotion, he offers me respects. And nitya yukta upasate, he is always engaged in my service, my worship. Upasate means worship. So here Krishna has mentioned the position of mudhas. They think Krishna, they are ordinary. He is ordinary, I repeat. So Krishna has mentioned here the situation of mudhas who take Krishna to be an ordinary person, then position of Mahatmas, and then Krishna is giving the gradation now. Those people who are not Mahatmas but they are on the path, what is their situation? Jnana yagyena chapyanye yajanto mamupasate ekatvena prithakvena bahudha vishvato mukham. Others who are engaged in the cultivation of knowledge worship the Supreme Lord as one without a second, diverse in many and in the universal form. So those people who follow the process of Gyan, path of knowledge, they are not Mahatmas. They have to reach the platform of Supreme Gyan, Bhakti. So Gyan Yagyena Chapi Anye. Others who are not Mahatmas, they follow me by Gyan Yagya, and these Gyanis, they worship Krishna not in a suitable way, but in three kinds of worship. They are also worshipping me only, Krishna is telling. Yajanto mam upasate, they worship me, but in different features. Not in the supreme feature, the two-handed Shyam Sundar form, but ekatvena prithaktvena bahuda vishvato mukham. So as we understood that Krishna is Satchidananda, pure spirit, and we are also pure spirit, but they misunderstand that I am same supreme spirit. So they start thinking that I am God and they worship themselves. That is called ahangrahopasana. But at least they understand I am not the body, so they are also advanced. If they advance further, this misconception may be removed, and then they understand what kind of God I am. I have toothache, I cannot cure my toothache itself, and I have to rush to a dentist. Why am I thinking I am God? So many planets are there, can I control the motion of those planets? Then they realize I am not God actually. I am God's substance, but not in magnitude. So some people who think I am that supreme personality. So just like the nature is creating various hallucinations, I am man, I am woman. This is a last snare of Maya. The material nature makes you believe that you are God. Yes, that is why we should never depend upon our perceptions. They will cheat us. So this perception is created by Maya. You start feeling I am God. I am the universal consciousness. This is called ekatvena. Then prithaktvena. Another class of jnanis, they think God has got so many forms. Any form can be imagined. So you can worship either Ganpati, or you can worship Shiva, you can worship Durga, you can worship Surya. These different forms are there. And these are all imaginary forms. Any form, prithaktvena, means so many separate, so many different plural forms are there. So this is also one class. And third class is Bahuda Vishvato Mukham, who do not have any conception beyond the material manifestation. As we discussed, Adi Daivam, this universe also is body of Krishna, because Krishna has entered in this universe has taken certain form. And they worship this universe as a supreme organism, and we are part and parcel of this supreme organism. This is called Bahuda Vishvato Mukham. They are also impersonalists. But because they understand there is a conception of God, they are also advanced than the gross materialists. Aham kratur aham yagyaha swadhaham aham aushadham mantroham aham evajyam aham agnir aham hutam. But it is I who am the ritual, I the sacrifice, I the offering to the ancestors, the healing herb, the transcendental chant. I am the butter and the fire and the offering. So some people who do yajnas, dravya yajna, offer the material ingredients into the fire. Krishna is telling, I am everything. I am that fire, the consuming agent. I am the offering. I am the offer. I am everything. Because everything is manifestation of my energy. Pitaham asya jagato mata dhata pitamaha vedyam pavitram omkara riksam yajurevacha. I am the father of this universe, the mother, the support, and the grandsire. I am the object of knowledge, the purifier, and the syllable Om. I am also the Rik, the Sam, and the Yajur Vedas. Pitaham asya jagata. So I am the father, and Lord Shiva is considered to be our father. Because the souls which are impregnated into this material world, they are coming from Lord Shiva. But Lord Shiva is also coming from somebody, Mata, Dhata, Pitama. So Krishna is telling, I am father, I am grandfather, grandsire also. So Lord Shiva has come from Lord Brahma, and Lord Brahma also has come from somebody. And material nature, Goddess Durga, she is our mother, she provides bodies to all of us. So Krishna is telling, I am mother, I am father, I am grandfather, grandsire. Everybody is my manifestation only. I am Rik, Yaju, Sam, all the Vedas. In other words, Krishna wants to tell there is nothing beyond me in this creation that you see. Gatir bharta prabhu sakshi nivasa sharanam suhrit prabhava pralayasthanam nidhanam bijam avyayam. I am the goal, the sustainer, the master, the witness, the abode, the refuge, and the most dear friend. I am the creation and the annihilation, the basis of everything, the resting place, and the eternal seed. So Krishna is the seed, and Krishna is the gati. Krishna is the ultimate destination of everybody. Tapamyaham aham varsham nigranami usrajami cha amritam chaiva mrityuscha sad asachaham Arjuna. O Arjuna, I control heat, the rain and the drought. I am immortality, and I am also death personified. Both being and non-being are in me. So this global warming is not by chance. You break the laws of nature, it will happen. Krishna is the controlling of heat. The droughts are not happening by chance. We break the laws of nature, droughts will happen. So Krishna is telling, I am the heat, I am the cause of rain, cause of drought, I am maintainer, I am the annihilator. Traividya mam somapah puta papa yajnairishtva swargatim prarthayante te punyamasadya surendra lokam ashnanti divyan divideva bhogan. Those who study the Vedas and drink the Soma juice, seeking the heavenly planets, worship me indirectly. They take birth on the planet of Indra, where they enjoy godly delights. So those who are not on the path of knowledge, they don't want liberation, they just want elevation to heavenly planets. They try to create Somras, they do Sompan. Now Somras is misunderstood, the drink of the demigods, that they are also drunkards, they drink liquor. No, it is not tamasic intoxication. By the influence of intoxicants like liquor, we commit so many crimes. But drinking Somaras frees us from the sinful reactions, and that is mentioned here. That these people, they take birth on the planet of Indra, where they enjoy godly delights. So unless a person is purified of the lower mode, they cannot have attainment of heavenly planets, where sattvic nature predominates. So by drinking this Soma juice, Put Papa, person becomes free from the pap. So reverse thing is happening. By drinking liquor, you commit sinful activities, and here Put Papa, you become free from the sinful reactions. You have more Sattvaguna in your body, thus you go to Urdhvagachanti Sattvastha, to heavenly planets. Tetam bhuktva swarga lokam vishalam Shine punye martya lokam vishanti Evam trai dharmam anuprapanna gatagatam kama labhante. When they have thus enjoyed heavenly sense pleasure, they return to this mortal planet again. Thus, through the Vedic principles, they achieve only flickering happiness. So Krishna is telling this is not right course of action. Indirectly, you are worshipping me because the Devatas are my part and parcels. But even if you attain to those Devatas, their planets, where living comforts are much more, Shine Punye, when the Punya is finished, then you come back. Of course, unless you cultivate, Krishna consciousness is transcendental. On heavenly planet also, if you become Krishna conscious, you can advance further and become liberated. But if you do not follow Krishna consciousness, then as soon as the Punya, material credits are over, you come back on this activity. Material, I'll repeat. So when your pious credits are over, you come back to this earthly planet and again engage in material activity. Again you commit punya, you go to heavenly planets, and if you do papa, then you go to hellish planets. And in this way a person keeps on rotating. Sometimes he goes very high, material comforts, and mistakes are inevitable in this material world. He goes down, suffers in the hellish situations, and in this way the person keeps on enjoying and suffering in the cycle. So Krishna does not tell it is very beneficial activity. Ananyashchintayanto mam ye janah paryupasate tesham nityabhiyuktanam yogakshemam vahamyaham. But those who worship me with devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, to them I carry what they lack and preserve what they have. So we are always talking about spiritual advancement, and who will take care of? After all, we are living in this material world. So don't we need to worship some devatas, get some material benefit, at least live here peacefully and happily? So this verse is very important. Krishna mentions Ananyas chintayanto mam. Krishna tells Satatam kirtayanto mam. Mahatmas always they are engaged in Krishna's worship. Bhajanti ananya manaso, without any deviation, they are just engaged in Krishna consciousness. So if we are doing this thing, then how shall we eat? Who shall arrange for us? So here in this verse it is mentioned Ananyaha, those who worship me with devotion, meditating on my transcendental form, I carry what they lack and preserve what they have. So one very famous Acharya, Arjunacharya, he was a pure devotee. He was writing commentary on Bhagavad Gita. And when he came across this word, Vahami Aham, I carry personally. So he thought Krishna, and this chapter describes the glories of Krishna, how he is sustaining everything. There is nothing but Krishna only. All the material energy, spiritual energy, all the living entities, Mata, Dhata, Pitamaha, fire, the offering, the herb, chants, everything, Rig, Yaju, Sham, Athar, Ved, everything is nothing but me. So such a personality, he can send so many agents to take care of the devotees who are thinking of Krishna. Why personally he has to come? So then he struck off the lines there, and he explained that through my agents I will take care of the devotees. I will supply to them what they lack and preserve what they have. And then he wanted, because he was a householder, he wanted to have some groceries and some essentials of daily need. So on the request of his wife, he went out to collect the alms. And meanwhile, two boys, one black and one white, they come, they carry huge loads on the bamboo. There is a way you keep bamboo on your shoulder, bamboo stick, and you balance it with load on either sides. So they were having this huge load, and these two boys, when the Brahmana's wife, Arjunacharya's wife, saw that poor boys, young boys, who has given you so much load? They told, no, your husband only. Well, Acharya has become so cruel. He's not, he's very kind. Well, no, he chastised us, and he has told us to carry all this load here. So anyway, they put the load, and the wife requested, please sit down, have some prasadam. So they told no, and then she saw there were some marks on the backs. Oh, how these marks have come? No, Acharya has beaten us also. No, I will talk to him. How he can be so cruel to young children? Could you please sit here and I will bring some prasadam? No, he will come and chastise us, we will go. And they go away. And when Arjuna Acharya returns, and then the wife talks, how Acharya, you have become so cruel. Those children, this so much heavy load you have given them, and then you beat them also. So then he saw that whatever he wanted, everything was there in the house. Well, but I have not arranged, I did not tell anybody. And then he asked the description of the children, and then he realized they were none other than Krishna and Balram. And because this Bhagavad Gita is non-different from Krishna, this is another very important concept of spiritual life. Spiritual world, spiritual life is absolute. So there is no difference between Krishna and the instructions of Krishna. So if this faith, but we need Shraddha, as Krishna has told in the beginning. With this faith, if we read Bhagavad Gita, then we will receive personal instructions of Krishna. The more we become qualified in spiritual life, more and more this Bhagavad Gita will reveal itself to us. So thus, just see such an amazing opportunity we have. Personal instructions of Krishna we are getting when we hear Bhagavad Gita or when we read Bhagavad Gita. So because Bhagavad Gita is non-different from Krishna, Krishna wanted to show by his mercy to his devotee. When he struck off the lines on Bhagavad Gita in the commentary, the marks were there on the back of Krishna. So thus we should, with great faith, love. These are the practical historical incidents. Now, of course, some of you may believe, some may not, but you do some research work, we'll find many such instances are there. They keep on happening. So, Yogakshemam Vahamyaham, Krishna is telling. It is not that Krishna has so much love for his devotees, because a devotee has nothing other than no business other than serving Krishna. Krishna's only business is to serve his devotee, to take care of his devotee. Thus, Arjuna is being served by Krishna in a very menial capacity as his charioteer. And here personally, not by his agents. Personally, Krishna supplies. So thus an intelligent person just tries to satisfy Krishna. And then we will never be in scarcity. So we should try to do this ananyas chintayanto mam. Always we are absorbed in thoughts of Krishna. But how to do it? Because we have to do so many activities. Even though we may do for Krishna, in our job we need to have attention. In everything we may need some attention. So that is why Krishna has told Mahatmas, what do they do? This verse is very important. Mahatmas satatam. So there are so many qualifications of Mahatma. But in the first line, Krishna has mentioned the most important qualification of Mahatma. And what is that? Satatam kirtayanto mam. Always they are chanting my names. So this is easy to do. We are doing any work. If we practice, then we can keep on chanting. And with some practice, we will not be disturbed by that. Srila Prabhupada gives the example, in the Indian villages earlier, women have to fetch water from the reservoir. So they would have an earthen pot on their head and sometimes pot over pot. And they will walk very nicely, they will talk here and there, look everywhere, but the pots will not topple. So this is practice. You can do all the activities, look here and there, talk, walk. Sometimes they can dance also keeping so many pots on their head. This is practice. So if we chant and hear always, then we will not be disturbed in our activities. We can continue whatever work we are doing. At the same time, we can keep on hearing the sound vibration. And in this way, Satatam Kirtayanto Mam will develop into Ananyas Chintayanto Mam. We will always be thinking of Krishna. We will never be without Krishna thought. So please try to experiment this. It is very simple. Just keep on vibrating your tongue always. Have this practice, whatever work we are doing throughout the day. And then there will be no scarcity. There is spiritual advancement. And materially also Krishna takes care of such a devotee. So when Krishna takes care, when Krishna wants to protect, who can steal anything from us? And if Krishna wants to provide, who can stop it from coming to us? So this is called sense. Yepi anya devata bhakta yajante shraddhayanvitah tepi mameva kaunteya yajantya vidhi purvakam. Whatever a man may sacrifice to other gods, O son of Kunti, is really meant for me alone, but it is offered without true understanding. Krishna has repeated before also in 7th chapter again that those people who worship other devatas, kama, staita, rita jnana, their intelligence is stolen away by their desires, material desires. Alpa medasam, their intelligence is less because the results are temporary. So those who are devotees of other devatas, they are worshipping me only. Yajante Shraddhayanvita Tepi Mameva Kaunteya. They are worshipping me only, O Kunti Putra. But Avidhi Purvakam, they are worshipping me in improper way. The example given is just like somebody is pouring water on the leaves or branches. He is pouring water on the tree only, but Avidhi Purvakam, there is no benefit either to leaves or branches or to the entire tree. But if you water the roots, entire tree, leaves, branches would be nourished. So this is the way of worshipping Krishna, directly chanting his name, engaging in service, then Devtas are satisfied. If you worship Devtas directly it is mentioned, people don't read, just see the verses, direct verses of Bhagavad Gita. Where is the question of mal or different interpretation? Anya Devta Bhakta Avidhi Purvakam. It is Avidhi, improper way. You are putting water there on the leaves and branches. It doesn't serve the purpose. Aham hi sarva yajnanam bhokta cha prabhureva cha natumam abhijananti tatvena taschyavanti te. I am the enjoyer and the only object of sacrifice. Those who do not recognize my true transcendental nature fall down. So Krishna has been mentioning Karmanye vadikaraste ma phaleshu katachana. You have right to do your duty, but you don't have right on the results. Why? Yagyarthat karmano anyatra loko yam karma bandhana. The works are meant to be done for sacrifice. The result should be sacrificed. Otherwise, karma bandhana, you'll get entangled in the laws of nature, repeated birth and death. Material bodies your karma will produce. And Krishna told, you sacrifice, duirena hi avaram karma. Don't do this fruitive activity, enjoy the results. Sacrifice the results of your work. For whom it has to be sacrificed? Here Krishna is again telling, aham sarva yajnanam bhokta. Bhokta ram yajna tapasam, Krishna mentioned previously also. Now he is telling again that I am the master of sacrifice, I am bhokta, I am the enjoyer of sacrifice. So all the sacrifices should be done for me only, for my pleasure. And those who do not understand this, Krishna is ultimate enjoyer of sacrifice, they fall down from their positions. Yanti devavrata devan pitrin yanti pitravrataha bhutani yanti bhutejya yanti madhyajinopi mam. Those who worship the demigods will take birth among the demigods. Those who worship ghosts and spirits will take birth among such beings. Those who worship ancestors go to the ancestors, and those who worship me will live with me. Some people tell you worship anybody, you will get the same result. Krishna has denied that previously. Here again, Krishna is again reaffirming the same statement. Yanti devarata devan pitran yanti. If you worship devatas, you go to respective planets. You worship pitrilokas, ancestors, you go to the planet where they are living. You worship ghostly spirits, then you go to become riksha, yaksha, a ghost. And if you worship me, then you come to me. So Devtas have their planet, the ghosts also live in some planet, ancestors live on planets. Similarly, I have my spiritual planet. If you worship me, you will come to me. If you come to me, here everything is completely spiritual, no influence of time. So thus different results are attained by worshipping different personalities, different manifestations of Krishna in this material world. Ghosts, tamasic result, you also will become ghost. Devta, you become Devta. So where it is mentioned that you worship anybody and you get the same result, these are not justified by Bhagavad Gita. Now one may ask, one has to sacrifice for Krishna, then what kind of sacrifice do I perform? So for ordinary Devtas, I have to do so much of sacrifice, lot of money is involved, tons and tons of clarified butter, ghee and grains are required, lot of money, lot of charity has to be given in ordinary yajnas. And sometimes the worshipper of other Devtas, we have seen they offer their flesh, they offer their head also in the worship. So the worship of Krishna, such yajna is even more tough. So here Krishna is telling what sacrifice you are supposed to do for me. Krishna explains, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhakti upahritam ashnami prayatatmanaha. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, fruit or water, I will accept it. So Krishna is telling, does not matter. If you are not very rich, you don't have resources, patram pushpam phalam toyam. You can offer me leaf, you can offer me flower, you can offer me water. Please offer it to me. Some fruit you can give it to me. These are naturally available. So these things anybody can afford. So if you cannot, obviously now one should not cheat Krishna. I am having so much of wealth and resources, but I'll give one leaf only to Krishna. Then Krishna also will reciprocate. Ye yathamam prapadyante. But here Krishna mentions, I accept if even a leaf, water, anything is offered to me with bhaktya prayachati. Krishna is telling, in devotion. Because what Krishna is looking at is our devotion. Everything belongs to Krishna. Krishna is in no dearth of resources. Why Krishna will tell you offer your wealth to me, why you work hard for me? Is Krishna lacking servants? No. But by working hard for Krishna, offering our hard-earned money to Krishna, we develop loving relationship with Krishna, and that liberates us and gives us unlimited happiness. So thus Krishna wants our bhakti. So even a person is very poor, he also can make perfect advancement in this path by offering water, fruit, leaf or flower, but with great devotion to Krishna. Yat karoshi yadashnasi yat juhoshi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. O son of Kunti, all that you do, all that you eat, all that you offer and give away, as well as all austerities that you may perform, should be done as an offering unto me. So now I cannot offer even patram pushpam phalam toyam, does not matter. Krishna is telling you do not have these things, then you are engaged in some activity. Yat karoshi, you please do that activity for me, any activity that you are doing. And you are eating something, then please offer it to me. After offering, you can take it. Yadashnashi means whatever you are eating. Yat karoshi, yadashnashi, yad joshi, dadasiyat. Whatever you are offering in sacrifice, offer it to me. Whatever charity you are giving away, every man is charitably disposed. Here, if we do charity, that will create punya for us. And anyway, if the benefit has to go to a person, we have to understand. Krishna's laws are not waiting for us to do charity, then only other person will be taken care. We can act as instruments of charity if we want promotion to higher planets in the next life, or good birth on this planet, very rich birth. Then you do that. That is Karma Kanda portion of the Vedas. But please understand, has Krishna made such an imperfect governance that if you don't do charity, then other person will starve, even though he is not destined to? No. Nobody enjoys or suffers more than destiny. As per laws, it is fixed. So one should understand then what my efforts should be directed for. They should be directed only for spiritual life, which is not as per destiny's control. So that is why if we do charity, then as per laws of nature, we will get better and comfortable rich birth. But then even rich men suffer. Disease, old age, death, stress, anxiety, depression, everything happens to everybody. It will happen in rich conditions. So this is not act of great intelligence. So that is why Krishna is telling, whatever you give in charity, you please give to me. So in that way, you will be freed. And when you engage in the service of Krishna, your money, even materially, they are taken care. Just like we give prasadam to the people. So materially, their stomach is being fed, they are surviving. And because that is food offered to Krishna, they make spiritual advancement also. Thus, it is best charity if it is done for Krishna, for spreading Krishna consciousness. So Krishna is telling here, whatever you are doing, do that activity for me. Whatever you are sacrificing, whatever tapasya, everybody has to do some tapasya. You have to score marks, tapasya. You have to do job, business, tapasya. Hard work is required. Do that tapasya for me. Research work, scientists are doing so much of tapasya. So rather than investing your such valuable intelligence in some temporary achievements, try to use your intelligence to discover me, understand me. So all tapasya should be done for me. So any activity that we do, if it is done for Krishna, Krishna is telling, then also you will make spiritual advancement. Shubha Shubh Falairevam Mokshase Karma Bandhanae Sannyasa yoga yuktatma vimukto mamupashyasi. In this way, you will be freed from all reactions to good and evil deeds, and by this principle of renunciation, you will be liberated and come to me. So again, Krishna is repeated here. Shubha Shubh Phalayar Eva Mokshase. One should be free from the result of Ashubh, bad activity. One should be free from the result of Shubh, good activities also. So please understand, we should not do even good activities, because so-called good activities also create reactionary results for the instrument. So that good thing anyway will happen to the people as per the laws of karma. So I should be completely aloof from good or bad activities. I should engage in Krishna consciousness. So when all my activity, charity, whatever I am eating, it is offered to Krishna, then I am free both from good and bad activities, good and bad results. Then I am free from karma bandhan. And sannyas yoga yuktatma, such a person is actually sannyasi. And such a person attains Krishna. Samoham sarvabhuteshu name dveshyo asti na priyaha ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya maite teshu chapyaham. I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all. But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, and I am also a friend to him. Samoham sarvabhuteshu, Krishna is equal to all. So one may wonder, then why somebody is born poor, why somebody is born diseased, why somebody is born as an animal? So from here we can understand, because Krishna is equal to everyone, it means this is the result of my activity. Now one may ask, I have just taken birth. Where is the question of doing any activity? Why you have given me this body, miserable suffering body? So thus this brings us to very important point, conclusion, that I am eternal. It means now Krishna is equal to everybody. We are all children of God. Still from birth somebody is having defects and poverty stricken. It means he has done bad activities, but when? Before birth. It means we are eternal. Very simple to understand. I am not the body. I have done some activities in previous life. Unless I am eternal, why will Krishna give me a miserable birth? Because he is equal to all. So thus we are eternal. So please understand this important point. We are eternal, and human life is meant to regain our eternal position. So God is equal to everybody. God is not envious, because we are all his children only. But Krishna tells, Tu ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya maite teshu chapi aham. One who is my devotee, I am specially inclined for him. Now this is also not partiality of God. It is just like rains don't discriminate. But if a person has got big vessel and the vessel is kept right side up, then a lot of water can be collected. But if the vessel is kept upside down, no water collected. Rain has not discriminated. We have become averse to the rains. So in a similar fashion, Krishna is specially inclined. One may ask, oh, Krishna is favorable. If you don't worship me, you suffer. And for devotees, I will protect. And I will carry what they lack personally. No, you also can become devotee. Chance is there for everyone. So God is not partial like that, because anybody can become devotee and take benefit. Apiche suduracharo bhajate mamananya bhak sadureva samantavyaha samyak vyavasito hi saha. Even if one commits the most abominable actions, if he is engaged in devotional service, he is to be considered saintly, because he is properly situated. So like many people may take to this process of engaging in service of Krishna, but because of the force of past activities, we may end up doing abominable activities, which is called durachar, which is not socially acceptable, may not be morally acceptable. So Krishna is telling what to speak of durachar, sudurachar. Person might be committing abominable, very bad actions, but not willingly, because habits we cannot. Just like many people, they start reading Bhagavad Geeta, and some devotees would tell, for 1 year I was smoking, having a cigarette in one hand and Bhagavad Geeta in other hand. And now he is fantastic devotee. So many devotees he has made. So because the habits are not easy, proper knowledge takes time to manifest in the heart, body takes time to purify, so it does not matter. Important is that the person is engaged. Child should not be criticized, you are foolish, as long as child is studying in school. If child is not studying, then you criticize. But if somebody is studying, one should not be criticized. It takes time, just a matter of time. Let him or her go to classes, and in some course of time, they will be enlightened citizens. In a similar fashion, bhajate mam ananya bhat. Anybody who is engaged in the service of Krishna, bhajate, in his service, without any deviation, then Krishna is telling such a person is sadhu. But sometimes he does bad activities, so maybe he is not 100% sadhu. No, Krishna is telling 100% sadhu. You don't criticize. All these activities will stop, as Krishna tells in the next verse. Kshipram bhavati dharmatma shashvat shantim nigacchati kaunteya pratijanihi name bhaktav pranashyati. He quickly becomes righteous and attains lasting peace. O son of Kunti, declare it boldly that my devotee never perishes. So Krishna is telling those who are not devotee, moghasha mogha karmano, all the results, they may be very sober, very gentle, all good habit and good manners, but after death they may become animals. Everything is lost. But name bhakta pranashyati, my devotee never perishes. Because he is in touch with me in my devotional service, he will become very, very purified very soon. Dharmatma, very soon he will become Dharmatma and attain lasting peace. As long as we break these laws of nature, even though we are engaged in service of Krishna, we will be disturbed. But if we stick to the service, so that is why more important is the service of Krishna. Don't worry much about bad habits. They will get corrected. Keep on trying. Some fall downs, failures will be there. Please don't get discouraged by that. If we follow under proper guidance, very soon our mind body will be purified and we'll attain lasting peace. So devotee's position is so high, even externally they may not know manners, may not know how to behave, may commit very bad actions also, but one is not supposed to criticize, who is engaged himself, ananya manaso. Mam hi parthavyapashritya yepi syu papayo nayaha Striyo Vaishyas tata Shudras tepi yanti param gatim. O son of Pritha, those who take shelter in me, though they be of lower birth, women, Vaishyas, merchants, as well as Shudras, workers, can approach the supreme destination. So spiritual advancement needs favorable circumstances. Human form of life, a sattvic body, body of Brahmanas, or that of Raj Rishis, saintly kings, they are very favorable because they are advanced in sattvic nature. Senses are under control, mind is under control. I'll repeat. Senses are under control, mind is under control. They are very, very truthful, very clean, very great clarity is there about spiritual knowledge. Material attachments are not there. They make very fast advancement. And other bodies, those of Vaishyas, mercantile community, or the working class, Shudras, untrained people, or women. In these bodies, Rajoguna and Tamoguna is very high. Material attachments and desires are very strong. So they are not considered very favorable for spiritual advancement. But even in these bodies, because this process which Krishna is telling, it is so powerful, it acts directly from the spiritual platform. So Krishna takes charge of guiding the devotee from the heart. So it does not matter if mind and body is not suitable. So he is telling here, Ye pisyu papiyoneya. So when we do sinful activities, we get such bodies which are high in Rajoguna and Tamoguna. So even in such bodies, such a birth is also not a disqualification for those Mam hi parth vyapashritya, those who have taken specifically shelter of mind. So anybody who takes shelter of Krishna, all the bodily and mental limitations are surpassed immediately. So thus it is a great news. There is no limitation. Our spiritual destiny is in our hands. Material destiny, happiness, distress is fixed. But spiritual destiny is in our hands. There is no disqualification if we surrender to Krishna. Follow the advice of our loving Father, the Supreme Person. Kim punar brahmanav punya bhakta rajarshayas tatha anityam asukham lokam imam prapya bhajasva mam. How much greater then are the Brahmanas, the righteous, the devotees and saintly kings who, in this temporary miserable world, engage in loving service unto me. So if we have got body, which is actually sattvic, of that of Brahmanas or Rajarishis, devotees, then that is even greater fortune. We should not miss this opportunity. And important words which are used here is anityam asukham lokam. In the previous chapter, Krishna mentioned dukkhalayam ashashvatam. This place is abode of miseries. Again, Krishna mentions asukham. There is no happiness in this world. So please, God is telling over and over again, in this place there is no happiness. So where is happiness here? Where we are going to die and the people we love, we are going to die. And we may suffer horrible conditions. And more so when our prerogative is to have an eternal life full of all happiness. So thus, happiness is not possible here. That is a design, because everybody by nature is full of envy in the bodily concept of life, and thus they create miseries for their own selves because of this ignorance. So it is anityam and asukham lokam. Even though for a time being we can be happy, it is anityam, it is temporary. Very soon distress will knock on our doors. So now this is the most confidential knowledge of all the instructions that Krishna has given. This instruction, this verse, shloka, Krishna will repeat again at the end of Bhagavad Gita, again repeating, now please hear, Shunu me paramam vacha, my supreme instruction, here again. So there is no doubt that this is the supreme instruction of Bhagavad Gita. And what is this supreme instruction? Please hear carefully. This surpasses all the process, scientific, rigorous, difficult, easy processes, whatever Krishna has described before, of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga. This process surpasses, and this is Manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vaishyasi yuktvaivam atmanam matparayanaha. Engage your mind always in thinking of me, offer obeisances and worship me. Being completely absorbed in me, surely you will come to me. So we don't belong to this place. In a dream world, a person is lost like this. We have got lost here in this material world. We need to go back to the spiritual world, to Krishna. Krishna is telling repeatedly, Mam upetya tu kaunteya punarjanmana vidyate. Come to me. Once you come, you will not come here again. Those who think of me, they come to me. Mad yajno yanti mamapi. Yanti, come to me. Upetya, attain me. Come to me. Tad dhamam paramam mama. That is my abode. So Krishna is repeatedly calling, this is not your place, this is asukham lokam, come to me, come to me. And how shall we go to Krishna? Our consciousness will be tested at the time of death. It is very simple process. So for that, mana, always we have to think of Krishna. So we are very fond of planning our life, and planning has to be done. It is important. But which is the criteria? Most important criteria in our planning is we should never forget Krishna. That is why it is told, Tyaja durjan samsargam bhaj sadhu samagamam. Chanakya Pandit has told, leave the association of durjan, those who are not devotees, and bhaj sadhu samagamam, always remain the association of sadhus, who always talk about Krishna. So, living with devotees is very important, who always remind us of Krishna. Living in a holy place or around the temple is very important, so that we are reminded again of Krishna. We should eat such food which reminds us of Krishna. We should read such literatures which remind us of Krishna. So in this way, our entire life should be planned so that mana, we are able to absorb ourselves in the thought of Krishna. And what kind of thinking? We are thinking of our boss also many times. As soon as we get up in the morning, we check our mails, what mails boss has sent. And then we are thinking, oh, boss will ask this report and that thing. Not that kind of thinking, official thinking. That is why Krishna has told, Bhava mad bhakto, we have to become devotee. In great love, we have to think of Krishna. So to increase the love, we have to do bhakti. Bhakti means rendering service. So earlier the system was in Vedic culture, there were arranged marriages. So girl and boy were not knowing each other. The horoscopes were calculated, they were matched. And this is the right way, not getting carried away by the infatuation again. Your mind and body will tell this is the right person for me. It doesn't turn out to be like that. So the horoscopes predict you have got this nature, these qualities you are manifesting or will manifest in future, and your life partner should have matching qualities. Then you will be compatible. So in this way, marriages were taking place and they were having stable marriages. Now you test your partner very nicely, rightly, but there is so much separation and divorce is happening. So when there is no love and they would marry each other, how love will develop? They will start serving. So by service, love develops automatically. So this development of love is required for devotional thinking. For that, bhav mat bhakto, engage in my service. So always think of me and become my devotee, mad yaji, and worship me. Respect has to be there in bhakti, worship has to be there. And mam namaskuru, offer your respects unto me. So these simple things we have to do. Man mana, think of Krishna. Just these 4 things if we do, then our life is perfect. Krishna is telling here, mam eva. Eva means definitely or certainly, without any doubt. Mam evaishyasi yuktva eva maatmana mat parayanaha. You will come to me without any doubt if you follow this process. Man mana, always think of Krishna. In this thinking we discussed how it is possible, as the Vedas are telling, Agni Puran is telling, Brahmanda Puran is telling, Brihanardiya Puran is telling, and we saw here in this chapter itself, verse number 14, Shrimad Bhagavatam is telling, Vedanta Sutra is telling, Anavritti Shabdat, liberation happens by sound, so Shabda. Sevan Mukhe Jivva Dav we discussed, Padma Puran, Jivva Dav Jivva, it begins from tongue. So everywhere chanting the holy names of God is glorified. Nama Sankirtanam Vishnu, Sarva Papa Pranashanam, Pranama Dukkha Shamanas, all the miseries will be resolved. God will reveal himself, we'll be able to perceive God, perceive the presence of God simply by chanting. So Satatam, this is the first condition of Mahatma which Krishna has told in this confidential knowledge in this chapter. So thus I request, please always develop this practice. Keep some reminders, keep some alarms so that throughout the day, as people get up in the office, they cannot work without tea, coffee or smoking. You also get up in your office in between every half an hour, 40 minutes, go chant for 5 minutes, come back. In this way, somehow train yourself that constantly throughout the day you keep on chanting. Then you can be doing your work and you will be hearing Krishna's name also with some practice. And then yourself you will realize how peaceful you have become. And then if you can also sacrifice your hard-earned money for Krishna, as Krishna told, Tat Kurusha Madarpanam, you see how much peace you have. Practically you can experience. So it is very scientific process Krishna is telling. Jnana Vijnana Sahitam Pratyaksh Avagamam Dharmyam. Practically you will see how my life is so peaceful. How? I will repeat. Practically we will see how our life is so peaceful and blissful. How I am making spiritual advancement and I am able to perceive the presence of Krishna. All the concepts will be understood. Just man mana. Always keep on chanting Krishna's name so that we can think of Krishna. And don't do sinful activities. If you do sinful activities, we become forgetful of Krishna. And to come to this platform of always chanting, always thinking of Krishna, we have to engage in service of Krishna, offer respects to Krishna, offer obeisances to Krishna, worship Krishna. Simply by this thing, respect, worship, thinking, devotion, our life is successful. So this is the most confidential instruction. Simply if we perform this thing, then we are happy in this life. There will be no material scarcity, there is peace, and the doors of unlimited spiritual bliss are opened. With this we end the 9th chapter, the most confidential knowledge. Now next chapter, Krishna is describing further his opulences, so don't miss. Very soon we'll meet again to discuss chapter 10th, opulence of the absolute. Meanwhile, keep on chanting constantly, incessantly. Thank you so much for hearing. Hare Krishna.